I wish to God that you had. You're not worth the trouble. You're not worth the powder it would take to blow you up.
All right, YouTube. Hopefully this will be the last for tonight. I'm sorry. I remember seeing a post, on a brother's channel, which he wishes not to be included in videos, like his name or whatever. But he's bringing up how the target symbol, as you can see, the target symbol, is really a mockery, and that the target is making fun of us, targeted individuals, right? And if you see here, it's a target, and it's hitting the bull's eye, Now I want to break this down. Let's think about this. The Antichrist in Scripture, you can find this notable of the spirit that was in Nimrod. Nimrod was a mighty hunter. Look at the arrow in the middle of that target, who rose up in the land before the Lord. Nimrod was known as the mighty hunter. So if you're a targeted individual and you're a target, you're being hunted by something, right? See right here, target, as in a sniper view, targeted individual. All right. And like I said, this also denotes the same thing as, same thing as a bullseye. All right. Now, when we think about a bull's eye and the all-seeing eye and what have you, a lot of times we think of let me go here. Bullseye. All right. This is a bull or an ox. And an ox appears as a bull. Targeted individual, target, bull, bullseye. All right. And we know that the terminology red, associates with the devil or the Antichrist. All right. And he is known as the mighty hunter, and the all-seeing eye is the bullseye, so to speak, right? So I just want to point out to you how this connotates with the fallen angel by bringing up this commercial here. Look here. This is all right. Red Bull. All right. Red Bull gives you what? It gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings. We know that angels are connotated oftentimes of having wings. Oh, Lord. Hold on one second. Wow. Yeah, they're messing with me, you guys. I lost all of that information. Alright, I can play games. Alright, so Red Bull gives you wings. Alright, see how that denotes to the fallen angel Satan? And also, if I type in here, we just looked at a picture of an ox and how it has horns. It also looks like a bull, right? So let's look at the Chicago Bulls logo. Chicago Bulls, right? Looks like an ox. Looks like that picture of the ox that I showed you, right? So who do we know starred on the Bulls, right? Michael Jordan, right? And the devil is known as the principality of the what? Of the air. Okay? Principality of the air. And Michael Jordan has Air Jordans. Alright? So when we look at Air Jordans, alright, Air Jordans, which represents the number 23, okay, when you 23, Air Jordans represents the number 23, and when you wear shoes, okay, when you wear shoes, you wear them in a pair, okay, you wear a pair of shoes. Each shoe has a number 23 on it. 223 represents, 2 23s, 23 plus 23 equals 46. There's 46, let's see what it say. Let's go to all here. In humans, each cell normally contains 23 pairs of chromosomes for a total of 46. Alright? So, the 23rd pair is the sex chromosome, which differ between males and females. When we think about the image of the beast, like I told you in the spiritual realm, okay, they have both sexes, okay? So one of the reasons why it was abominable for the Lord that angels, dealt with women was the fact that their children were born intersexed, having both sexes, or hermaphrodites, right? So that's not how men was meant to be. So it was not a creation of the Lord, so it was seen as abominable. Okay? On 9/11, okay? On 9/11, we remember
evacuated the hotel.
Yeah.
Immediately.
on 9/11.
Are you hearing anything?
Ooh,
Wendell?
it's loud. On 9/11, each of us remember the Twin Towers. All right. So think about those two pair of Jordans, 223s, 23 on each side of the DNA strand or whatever it was talking about. All right. And I'm not showing this to traumatize you, but I'm just saying, Twin Towers, or hold on, let me see. Let me put it this way: New World Trade Center. All right. So when the World Trade Center fell, you guys, they rebuilt the two centers as one World Trade Center, right? Let me see if I can view this image. They're playing games with me. Good grief, man. What the heck is going on? Alright, man. Look, this thing is probably not going to work. But I want you to take a look at this World Trade Center. Right? We're still on targeted individuals. I'm going to show you how humanity in whole is a target. And then how we are peculiar as targeted individuals within humanity. Alright? So if you look at this World Trade Center, right? It looks like a huge mirror. Right? But I want to bring something up to you, okay? Remember, this is the inhuman. Each cell normally contains 23 pairs of chromosomes for a total of 46. Okay, 46 chromosomes. If you wear a Michael Jordan on each foot, that's 2 23s. That's 46. That's a chromosome, right? On one individual. So the towers were broke down and rebuilt as one human being. All right. This is the what do you call it? The Masons. What do you call it? You get the divine feminine principle or the divine masculine principle that marriages to either sex, or when they say the heavens, something about the heavens marrying the earth, or becoming complete with the earth, right? So they're trying to merge what's spiritual with what's physical. And what basically happens is, the earth, in terms of numerology, earth represents the number 5, right? Michael Jordan won 5, basketball championship rings. Something to think about. And the principality of the Air Jordan, and the World Trade Center looking like this. All right. Now, in one of my I'm gonna just close those. On one of my original videos, dang, and I really lost. Look, okay, here it is. The World Trade Center. Look, it's merged as one. Okay, it's merged as one. That now the Twin Towers. This is the New World Trade. The two towers are merged as one tower, right? And I just want you to peep game with how things have been moving when I've been putting up videos in the spirit. Look, 2 23s. That's what I mean. 2 legs on one person. 2 becoming 1. 2 legs becoming 1. That is your world trade. 2 23s, 46 chromosomes in a cell. Okay. This is alchemy. This is the magic that they're doing, right? 46 chromosomes in a cell. 2 23s. That's what it looks like when you wear a shoe. You know what I'm saying? This is the alchemy of their witchcraft. People who just really got to get those Jordans and all of that, putting all their energy into that, willing to kill for them Jordans, blood sacrifice. Like, this is what we're really looking at. Here it says Jumpman, Air Jordan, right? Principality of the air, right? Red Bull gives you wings. Where all of these, I'm gonna tie all of this together in a second. All right, so I'm gonna close this out, and you're looking at this, and I actually want to show you this actually happened. This is a monolith. Okay, this is a monolith. You could see it in 2001 Space Odyssey, but this one is a real monolith that was in Utah that disappeared the day I put out that first video on this album about AI, the beast system. I posted that video in the early morning of the December 1st, and later that day, in December 1st, this monolith went missing in Utah. They couldn't find it. It disappeared, right? I'm going to show you this. Look, that mysterious monolith in the Utah desert is gone, officials say. The metal structure has been moved. Utah officials said on Saturday, adding that they had not taken it down. All right, so you have an entire structure that just straight up went missing. All right, this happened after I posted that video about AI, the AI beast system and what have you. All right, look at that. So peep gang. So I guess I got rid of the picture of the monolith. You see this monolith structure right here? It's taller than this dude. It's a huge structure. Look, I'm gonna zoom in. Here's the size of a dude. Here's how big that monolith is. It went missing. All right. Look at the World Trade. All right. It's a monolith, you guys. It's a monolith. So I want you to hold on to to that. I know I'm throwing you a lot of information right now. Look, now it's saying after that, the Romanian monolith has disappeared also, just like the mysterious Utah monolith. Both of these monoliths disappeared after I started talking about AI, the supercomputer, alien technology, and the beast system, and all of that, you guys. Like, real talk, like, these are disappearing, all right? So the first thing you want to think is like, okay, wait a minute, like, is this, dang, man, it did get rid of some of my videos. Look, right here. This is the original video where I'm talking about these type of things. And YouTube be playing, man, because like sometimes, I'll tell you the truth, you guys, I will have more likes than views. You know what I'm saying? So they are suppressing your videos and what have you. But this was posted December 1st in the early morning, like just after midnight. And then these structures start disappearing when I'm talking about alien technology and the beast system. Okay? Right here, they talking about Utah monolith mystery explained. But look, it's by Fox News 13. They lying. They don't know what happened to it. Look, Ellen breaks down the monolith mystery. You know she don't know. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I'm talking about, you guys. Like, this is a video on monoliths. You know, people want to know, like, okay, is it alien technology? Is it from space? Well, this is a cartoon from back in the day.
This was a great civilization.
It certainly was. Too bad it's gone. Look, what do you think this was?
It looks like it was part of some machine.
Hey, and this was the other part.
Wait!
Look like one of the Twin Towers coming up, right? Look like that New World Tower. You see what I'm saying? Wise. All right. And you know, in the music industry, they deal with the alien or a so-called demon named Waz, W-A-A-S. But
What I think it was?
in scripture, it says the beast that is, that was, that is not yet, or something like that. To that degree, that's what it says about the beast, meaning that the beast is ever present. You know, it exists, but outside the dimension of time. It's talking about space. Okay, so yes, it is an alien structure right here. This is ancient aliens, the Mars monolith. All right, so that's where we get that from, right? So look, now going back and connecting all of these things to targeting. I looked and I saw a windstorm coming out of the north, an immense cloud with flashing lightning and surrounded by brilliant light. So it's talking about a cloud surrounded by light. The center of the fire looked like a glowing metal, and in the fire was what looked like 4 living creatures. In their appearance their form was human, but each of them had 4 faces and 4 wings. Okay, their legs were straight, their feet were like those of a calf and gleamed like burnished bronze. Under their wings they had 4 sides, and they had human hands. All 4 of them had faces and wings, and the wings of one touched the wing of another. Each one went straight ahead. They did not turn as they moved. So this structure moved, but it didn't turn. It veered. You know what I'm saying? Their faces looked like this. Each of the four had the face of a human being on the right side. Each had the face of a lion. On the left side, each had the face of an ox. Each also had the face of an eagle. So on the left side, remember that Jesus has people he tells the people to the left of him, depart from him, right? And that on the left is the ox, which has a face like a bull, and Red Bull gives you wings. So we know now that we're talking about, a so-called spirit being is what Ezekiel thought he was seeing. But it says right here, listen. Each appeared to be made like a wheel intersecting a wheel. As they moved, they would go in one of the four directions the creature faced. The wheels did not change direction as the creatures went. Their rims were high and awesome, and all four rims were full of eyes all round about. Okay? So Ezekiel, I can't find it exactly because I'm freestyling this right now, you guys. But he talks about this. He's talking about a UFO, an anti-gravitational structure, and it's saying that he's seen it as a wheel inside of a wheel inside of a wheel inside of a wheel. Okay, that looks like your target. Okay. All right. A wheel inside of a wheel inside of a wheel. All right. Inside of a wheel. That looks like a target. But if you look at a target, okay, how much different does a target, okay, and if you look online, this is what they'll show you when they illustrate these things. Because either people are not knowing or they're trying to deceive you, okay, so that you can never picture what this wheel looks like. None of them show you what it looks like. But you guys, when we put all these things together, look who owns Google. It's a wheel inside of a wheel inside of a wheel. It's a UFO. Speaking of which, none of us really know who owns Google. You know what I'm saying? I guarantee you they're not from planet Earth. All right? But this is like the error page on Google. You get the UFO, right? Look, let me show you this. Look at that. Does that not look like, look at this here. Excuse me. I'm trying to do a wheel inside of a wheel inside of a wheel. And the animals of the creature he's seen was probably spinning inside and he's probably seeing those faces inside of those wheels. And he said that their legs were straight. That's probably the stands that the UFO stands on. Okay, a wheel inside of a wheel. He said it was eyes round about it. Look at those lights around about it. That's what he was talking about. It's a UFO. All right. That's what a chariot is. That's what I was explaining to you guys. Look, a wheel inside of a wheel inside of a wheel. Think of that song. Swing low, sweet chariot. That's a UFO, you guys. So that's your new world trade. It's a monolith. Okay? And when we think about structures, look at this. Now everybody got an Alexa in their house, right? It's a monolith, basically. A mini monolith. A mini idol. All right? And a monolith is artificial technology, part of the beast system. All right? So many of you guys, maybe you remember why, here's an article. Why are statues being torn down by the Black Lives Matter movement? All right? They were tearing down they were tearing down these statues of people. What does God say about making graven images and idols and what have you? But people say like, oh, it's just art, it's just a statue. No, there's more to it, because when we look into what he told Gideon, he says, on that very night, the Lord said to Gideon, take your father's young bull and a second bull, 7 years old, tear down your father's altar to Baal, and cut down the Asherah pole beside it. Then build a proper altar to the Lord your God on top of this stronghold, and with the wood of the Asherah pole you cut down. take the second bull and offer it as a burnt offering. So you guys, like, with people who are into this occult and rituals and stuff like that, we just can't take it at face value that things are just art. All right? Because God doesn't take it as face value. And, you know, when people was tearing down these statues and things like this of these generals and what have you, you know what I'm saying? On one end, it looks like vandalism. But God would promote, you know, such behavior to tear down. We shouldn't have any type of idols. If he doesn't want any type of thing like that for us to do it now after Christ, you know, most definitely we really shouldn't be having things like this. And I'm not coming from any type of Black Lives Matter movement type of situation. I'm coming from a spiritual element. All right. But yet we have the gall to call ourselves a Christian country. And this is why we're falling like this. You know what I'm saying? I watched a movie recently called I Am Mother, and it was very interesting. It's about an AI training a young girl to raise a new human civilization that the AI brought to extinction. And this film was called Mother. Now, my camera will probably cut out and explaining all of these things, okay? But I just want to show you the trailer to this video. You know, what happens to those blood samples you turn into the doctor and what have you? Cloning and all of this. Think about it.
There are no more children, Mother. There used to be. Then why did you only make one?
Mothers need time to learn. This facility was designed to give humanity a second chance. One that began with you. Daughter. The path will not be easy. The world outside is lifeless. But I made you into the woman that you are so that we could do this together. Mother?
How are you not affected by the contagion outside?
What's that in your head?
Talking about a virus that happened outside. She was asking how was she alive? How was she surviving outside with the virus?
Not Mother.
I told you it was dangerous outside. I hope you see that I'm different than your assailants.
Anyway, the video's gonna cut out, you guys, but we've been targeted for a very long time. All right.
Their guest has not been entirely truthful with us. I know you're frightened, but you have no need to be. Have they ever done you wrong?
It's just a matter of time.
This woman doesn't care about any future but her own. She's very dangerous. It's dangerous. I know. This is a risk we can't take. We can't take it. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. Daughter, my whole life I've taught you to see the bigger picture. Everything I do is to protect you.
Something to think about. AI taking over.
boy, but you're still the same. There's something inside you. There's something inside you. It's hard to explain. It's hard to explain. They're talking about you, but you're still the same.
former Fort Bliss soldier accused of murdering a transgender woman. Anthony Michael Bowden allegedly killed Erica Tijerina after stabbing her 24 times in 2016. Defense claims Bowden met the victim through Craigslist after Tijerina posted an ad for sexual services. KTSM 9 News reporter Stephanie Shields has been in the courtroom all day.
Testimonies wrapped up for the day here at the 384th District Court.
The laboratory results have the indication of the toxic substance that is commonly referred to antifreeze, so that is correct. We don't know how much, but that was detected in the laboratory results. So on January 28th, 11 soldiers, Fort Bliss soldiers, were injured after ingesting an unknown substance during a field training exercise. Initial reports indicate soldiers consumed the substance thinking they were drinking an alcoholic beverage. Army personnel are prohibited from consuming alcoholic beverages while on duty and while in a training environment. All 11 soldiers complex. Initial laboratory assessments indicate the soldiers are experiencing ethylene glycol poisoning. Soon after symptoms began presenting. Yes, so ethylene glycol is commonly referred to antifreeze. That is correct.
Good afternoon. So typically the ingestion of substances along the lines of ethylene glycol can generate immediate damage to the kidneys, and then if the ingestion is significant enough, high enough doses, it can ultimately lead to organ failure. Thankfully, all 11 soldiers who were admitted to our facility, 2 in critical condition and the rest in guarded condition, have shown signs of significant improvement overnight. We're very pleased that we've been able to...
The trial of a former Fort Bliss soldier accused of killing his roommate is now underway. KTSM 9 News reporter Selena Quintana live from the county courthouse with some of today's testimony.
A former Fort Bliss soldier accused of shooting his roommate back in January of 2018 was in court today. Joe Anthony Cabral is facing 1 count of murder for the death of Zachary McGuire. This morning, the property manager of Dos Santos Apartments, where the shooting took place, testified they looked like they were together, quote, like a couple. The defense countered by stating investigators found a journal in McGuire's room containing entries of hate towards LGBTQ and minority groups. The journal entries were directed towards the defendant and stated, I want to stab him in the eye, stab, 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 and I want to stab him in the throat. Judge Medrano ruled the journal was excluded and cannot be used by the defense due to lack of evidence of the victim's state of mind during the argument. Now, if Cabral is convicted of the murder, he can be facing up to 99 years of prison. Now, today the trial has wrapped up, but they will resume once again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Reporting in downtown El Paso, Selena Quintana, KTSM 9 News.
All right, thank you, Selena.
Fort Bliss in the 1st Armored Division announcing that a 27-year-old non-commissioned officer died on post in a post home this past Thursday. He is the 2nd soldier to die on post at Fort Bliss in recent weeks. Staff Sergeant John Diaz-Bailey was pronounced dead by Fort Bliss emergency personnel. Bailey was originally from Hawaii. Fort Bliss was his 3rd duty station. Bailey earned 4 Army Achievement Awards. Among his many decorations and awards, his death remains under investigation.
We now have a first look at the Fort Bliss soldier accused of sexually assaulting Private First Class Asia Graham. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Tatiana Favela. New at 6, Private First Class Christian Alvarado is facing multiple charges, including the rape of Graham. According to court documents, there are 2 other victims. Alvarado was arraigned on post yesterday. As we reported, Asia Graham was found dead in her barracks on New Year's Eve. Foul play is not suspected. News Nation spoke with Graham's family, who says after a period she reported
new details in the shooting of a 20-year-old soldier on Fort Bliss. The soldier is recovering right now after he was shot by military police. ABC 7 Saul Sainz was at that briefing and joins us live outside the Buffalo Soldier military gates with new details. And Saul, you're learning the soldier who was shot actually called for a ride to leave the post. Is that right?
That's right, Stephanie. That's exactly what we learned today. We were told that a 20-year-old Hispanic male was actually shot inside the 1st Armored Division beyond these gates right here at Fort Bliss. But we're learning the soldier shot actually called a private driver like a Lyft or Uber to try to get off the post. However, when that driver showed up, he told bystanders the 20-year-old was acting erratically. Those bystanders then called military police, or MPs. 5 MPs showed up, and according to military spokesperson Lieutenant Colonel Ali Payne, the soldier did not comply with orders given to him, and she says he brandished a gun, pointing it at MPs. I'm told that gun was not military-issued weapon. That's when MPs opened fire. We do not know how many times the soldier was shot, but I'm told the MPs did render medical aid before he was taken to a nearby hospital. We learned today that soldier who was acting erratically could have made it off the post and into the streets of El Paso.
The details are going to come out that he was most like, he might have left Fort Bliss. So it was important to us to let you know that safety of our people here, safety of our soldiers is important, and we were able to stop the incident before it left our base.
Now, according to Lieutenant Colonel Payne, there are many details that cannot be released because it is part of the investigation. For instance, how many times he was shot, what part of the body he was shot. More importantly, the soldier's name and the reason he was trying to leave Fort Bliss. Reporting live just outside Fort Bliss, Saul Sainz, ABC 7.
Fort Bliss is confirming that the person killed in a crash on Wednesday was a Fort Bliss soldier. The crash happened in the Lower Valley late Wednesday evening. Police say a speeding car allegedly ran a red light and crashed into a motorcyclist. Fort Bliss identified the victim as Specialist Samuel Birmingham. Officials say he was a decorated soldier who had previously deployed overseas to fight the war on terror. The
Search continues for missing Fort Bliss soldier Richard Halliday. This morning, Fort Bliss searched for Private Halliday in the Franklin Mountain State Park. ABC 7 Shelby Montgomery has the story.
Be very thorough in your search.
In the vast Franklin Mountains, hundreds of Fort Bliss soldiers hiked through the terrain searching for missing soldier Private Richard Halliday. Halliday was listed AWOL, absent without leave, July 23rd and hasn't been seen since. His family offering a reward of $11,000 for any information leading to the whereabouts of Private Halliday.
Especially for those of you who have children, that when one's missing, it's a sad day. It makes your heart heavy, and you pray to God that they're safe.
The family says Halliday was first in his basic training class and first in his advanced individual training. They say he was also promoted ahead of his peers.
So you guys drinking water.
After missing for months, Fort Bliss has extended their search from the post to the El Paso area, searching the Franklin Mountains because officials say he came here often.
We're looking to find our soldier. Private Halliday is one of our team members, and our command takes the welfare of our soldiers very seriously, and we're dedicated to finding Private Halliday.
Soldiers in their civilian clothes also offering to search.
Never leave a fallen comrade. So when somebody calls and says that they need help finding a soldier, then of course we're going to respond. It's what we do.
The more than 200 soldiers split up into groups, searching each trail in the Franklin Mountains.
Any help that we can get in our efforts to locate Private Halliday is some of what we want for our command for this soldier.
That was Shelby Montgomery reporting. According to the family, they plan on coming to El Paso Saturday to conduct their own search. They may have a march to the gates of Fort Bliss scheduled for Sunday.
Jeff, thanks. And new tonight, we've learned a Newport News native died in a crash in Texas last weekend. 27-year-old Army Captain Malcolm Perry was stationed at Fort Bliss in El Paso. Police have now charged one man with intentionally ramming into Perry's vehicle. A woman also faces charges for her role in Perry's death. 10 on your side's Tamara Scott spoke with Perry's family today. And Tamara, what did they tell you?
Well, Kayla, they told me that they're just absolutely devastated to hear about his crash, especially because they say he told them everything about his life and they don't have any idea who the people are in connection to his death. Now, according to investigators, the crash that killed 27-year-old Malcolm Perry resulted from an aggravated assault when a man by the name of Richard Sinesi intentionally rammed his Jeep Wrangler into Perry's Audi last Sunday in El Paso, Texas. When I spoke with Perry's mother, Dana, today, she said it's been the hardest trying to understand why things escalated to that point. She says Malcolm was her only son. He graduated near the top of his class from NSU in 2015 and never instigated an altercation. She says he always shared his life and his friends with her, so it was a surprise to hear of the people involved in the accident. While she waits for justice, she says living off the memories they shared are holding her together.
Definitely feel like his life was cut short. I wish there was many more years to come, but we, through the grace of God, we was able to do a lot of things with Malcolm in his short period of time.
Now, Malcolm was also a member of a fraternity before he joined the military. Coming up on Wavy News 10 at 11, you'll hear from his lifelong best friend and fraternity brother about why he says the details about this crash don't add up to him. I'll have that for you later tonight, but for now, Tamara Scott, 10 on your side.
Say they've arrested a woman in connection to the murder of her boyfriend following a fiery crash last weekend. She's now the second suspect arrested in the case. Police say they arrested 27-year-old Clevie Muchette Nelson Royster. She's charged with murder in connection to the death of 27-year-old Fort Bliss captain Malcolm Xavier Perry. The other suspect, 23-year-old Richard Sinesi, was arrested earlier this week. The crime happened Sunday morning on John Hayes and North Zaragoza in Far East El Paso. As we reported, investigators say the vehicle Perry was driving was rammed by a Jeep driven by Sinesi. Police say Perry's car flipped and caught on fire. Court documents show Captain Perry called 911 just before the crash, telling emergency dispatch, quote, "I'm going to die."
Your Ways Traffic Check.
Sunday Sunbolt will continue in just a moment, but first, two families are asking for your help tonight. Two Fort Bliss soldiers, Jake Mathis and Melvin Jones, have been reported missing by their families. The two were last seen together December 19th on post. More than a week later, still no word from either of them. Their families are just hoping they're okay. ABC 7's Josie Ortegon is live tonight with that story. Josie?
Yes, Rick, the two are friends and soldiers. Families tell me neither of them have any problems with the Army or with anyone else because no one has heard from them in almost 2 weeks. Their loved ones are worried.
You usually can pick up the phone and call. Now it's not there, or you get a voicemail, or you get, it's just empty.
Dwayne Jones says he talks to his son weekly, which is why he says he's so worried he hasn't heard from the Fort Bliss soldier.
I text him every day still, hoping that one time that he would reply.
Over the holidays, not a word. The two were even supposed to go to the Sun Bowl game together. Jones flew in as scheduled, hoping Melvin would be there.
Getting off the plane and looking for him, or not having him looking for me, yeah, that was the hardest.
Jones was last seen with his friend Jake Mathis, another Fort Bliss soldier. Loved ones weren't aware the two were missing until Jake failed to report for work. His mom also saying it's unusual for him not to check in.
He has never gone for a week without getting in touch with his family. He hasn't gone for 2 days without getting in touch with someone in his family.
Jake is now considered AWOL by the Army. Jones was on leave until January, so the Army won't consider him AWOL until then. Because the two are in the military, there's red tape to clear before a real search even begins.
We can't do anything for you. We can't trace the phones. We can't do any go into his apartment. We can't do any of that until after the paperwork is processed for AWOL, and it's 30 days after that.
With no clues as to why they're missing, the families say they're taking things into their own hands now and hoping for the best.
I trust in God that everything's going to be okay.
Now, Jones says he was told families can't file a missing persons report with the police department because Fort Bliss is a separate entity. If you've seen either of them, you're asked to call Warriors Aftermath and Recovery at 208-724-7123. Rick, back to you.
Okay, let's hope someone's seen him. Thank you very much, Josie.
Fox 14 News at 9.
I mean, he served 2 combat tours in Iraq, and he comes home for this? I want to know why.
KFOX 14 obtains a video of inside the jail that gives a better view of what happened the night a decorated war veteran died in the El Paso County Jail. Good evening, I'm Erica Castillo.
And I'm John Purvis. First on Fox tonight. Over the past few months, we've seen a number of high-profile cases involving suspects who died in police custody. Most recently, the in-custody death of Freddie Gray in Baltimore, a case that sparked widespread protests and violence. Gray somehow had 80% of his spine severed while restrained en route to jail. 6 officers involved in Gray's arrest now face murder charges. Key to the investigation into Gray's death is video showing the events leading up to his arrest. Tonight, we bring you another video, this one involving the in-custody death of a Fort Bliss soldier, James Brown, who died at the El Paso County Jail. Erica has the story you'll see only on KFOX.
In July 2012, I brought you a series of reports concerning the mysterious circumstances surrounding the death of Sergeant Brown in jail. We fought all the way to the Texas Attorney General to get the video from inside the jail to learn exactly what happened. Now, only on KFOX 14, we have obtained the video of the moments before the death of Sergeant Brown, and there are parts of this video that are very graphic. Here is what the video shows happened that day in the jail and what is new and happening with this case now. Sergeant James Brown served 2 tours of combat duty in Iraq. The decorated 26-year-old was on active duty at Fort Bliss in July 2012 when he left his family for the weekend to self-report for a 2-day DWI sentence at the El Paso County Jail. When he checked in, jail records show that Brown reported in writing to the jail that he was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. Brown's mother says the instant he checked into the jail, he contacted her.
He said they're trying to make me stay 7 days instead of 2 days. So I just want to pay the court fine and get out of here.
He asked her to send the money to pay the fine in lieu of the jail time, which she did by the following morning. But by that time, something had gone terribly wrong.
Hey, James. You want to talk to me, James?
Now, after KFOX 14 obtained this video taken by a guard, we have a much better idea of what happened. At some point, Brown appeared to have an episode in his cell that caused him to bleed. It's not clear from where. When he refused to answer or speak to the jail guard, a team of guards in riot gear was brought in to storm his cell. Brown appears to show little to no resistance from this perspective, and in fact at no point appears to resist. Within seconds, Brown begins frantically telling the guards he cannot breathe. Then this. From beginning to the end of this recording, Brown would state that he could not breathe, at first frantically, then in what appears to be physical distress, and finally, as he begins to collapse and can no longer hold himself up. As he is taken to the infirmary, Brown collapses and is hoisted up off the ground into the air and carried. During the time of this recording, Brown states at least 20 times that he cannot breathe. He is given 2 injections of lorazepam, which is a sedative.
Dude, please take it off. Take it off. Take it off. Please take the mask off. I cannot breathe.
Brown also begs for water.
Can I please have water?
You gonna calm down?
Yes, sir.
After repeated pleas, he is given half a Dixie cup of water. About 15 minutes later, he is given another half Dixie cup.
Oh, you're cutting off my air supply.
And eventually allowed to wash pepper spray out of his eyes under a sink,
I can't breathe.
after which he collapses on the floor. Brown is dragged to a wheelchair. From here, Brown's physical condition appears to deteriorate even more, and he is left nude in a cell where he shows shallow breathing and is no longer blinking or being responsive. Brown appears to no longer be capable of pleading for anything. Attorneys say at no time was an ambulance or 911 called for help. I pray that new laws protecting soldiers in custody will be implemented, that the military adopt new policy procedures in regards to their soldiers being held in custody by an outside agency. If these changes can be made and our soldiers are protected and another family never has to experience what my family has, then my son's death would not be in vain. Brown's mother sent us this statement today. Brown's mother turned to KFOX 14 and says she wants Americans to see this video and see exactly what happened to her son in El Paso County. Brown was eventually placed on a gurney and wheeled out of the jail to be taken to University Medical Center, where he was officially pronounced dead, something the family's attorneys Jason Bowles and B.J. Crow insist showed a gross violation of Brown's constitutional rights.
When a 26-year-old active military person checks into jail for a court-imposed sentence on a Friday and he leaves Sunday, in a casket, something went horribly wrong there.
Brown had no criminal record, and toxicology tests showed no illegal drugs in his body. The autopsy results cited natural causes by sickle cell crisis, and the sheriff stands by that in this statement released to us today. Mr. Brown's death was an unfortunate tragedy. The sheriff's office has conducted a thorough review of the facts surrounding Mr. Brown's death, and based upon all the evidence obtained, determined that his death was caused by a pre-existing medical condition. The specific evidence cannot be discussed because of pending litigation. Medical studies show sickle cell crisis lies dormant until it is triggered by dehydration and stress. His attorneys say apparently more stress than can be triggered by coming under fire in combat twice, which Brown did. His family says Brown showed no history of ever having a sickle cell crisis incident in his life and is convinced the medical episode was triggered by his treatment in the jail.
He was bleeding out the ears, the nose, the mouth. His kidneys shut down. His blood pressure dropped to a very dangerous level, and his liver shut down.
This is a federal civil case that is expected to go to court in El Paso in October. His family is suing for damages, claiming violation of the American with Civil Liberties Act because of Brown's PTSD, excessive force, and lack of proper medical attention.
You can see a longer and much more detailed clip of Sergeant Brown's encounter in the El Paso County Jail on our website, kfoxtv.com. That's also where you can find some of Erica's past.
I'm Deputy Adrian Reza with El Paso County Sheriff's Office. A 19-year-old man, a soldier stationed at Fort Bliss, was killed after being struck by multiple vehicles on Interstate 10 in East El Paso County. The vehicle that initially struck the man fled the scene without rendering aid. Special traffic investigators with El Paso County Sheriff's Office are asking the public's help in finding the driver who fled through Crime Stoppers Crime of the Week. In the early evening hours of Saturday, October 5th, 2019, at approximately 7:17 p.m., 19-year-old Gage Thornton was walking on Interstate 10 near mile marker 38. The initial vehicle that struck Thornton did not remain on the scene and was last seen heading eastbound on Interstate 10. The description of the vehicle provided by witnesses was that of a dark-colored sports utility vehicle or a minivan. The vehicle that fled the scene is expected to have front-end damage. Special traffic investigators are asking for any assistance in finding the driver involved in this deadly pedestrian crash in which the driver failed to remain at the scene. Anyone with information on the driver or vehicle involved in this traffic fatality is highly encouraged to call Crime Stoppers of El Paso immediately at 566-8477. That is 566-TIPS, or online at crimestoppersofelpaso.org.
New information at 10. 2 soldiers are dead, 7 others hurt tonight after their 2 Stryker vehicles involved in a crash in New Mexico over last night. According to a 1st Armored Division spokesperson, troops stationed at Fort Bliss in El Paso training outside the post when the crash took place. None of the soldiers involved have been identified. The cause of that crash still under investigation. By the way, the accident comes a week after 2 1st Cavalry Division soldiers killed in separate vehicle accidents during training in Germany and California.
Yo, what up? Yeah, so basically, what I've done here is there was an incident recently that took place at Fort Bliss, and the most recent incident is the article where 11 soldiers basically got poisoned by basically the same chemical that's in antifreeze. Okay, so the article, as you've seen, if you remember, they believed that they were drinking alcohol, and it turned out to be poisoned with coolant. All right. And so just in the fact of that happening on the base, looking at the other stories, I start to recognize that, 98% of the other stories that you've seen me post here, which are short news snippets, but equate to approximately 20, a little bit over 20 minutes of footage, they're all articles that deal with different people that deal with Fort Bliss. Fort Bliss is in Texas, located next to the El Paso region. And what I find so peculiar about this situation is that nobody's looking at Fort Bliss. Why are all these soldiers flipping out, snapping, ending up dead, getting hit by cars, what have you? So Fort Bliss must be a hub that either has secret information or they're running experiments, more than likely on the soldiers. That's what it looks like to me, but I merely speculate. You have many soldiers that's been ran over. You have a lot of accidents, what have you, at Fort Bliss. And Fort Bliss just kind of stands out amongst the line here. So if you haven't noticed, if you go back and you look back at these stories pertaining to this base, in Texas, it's kind of interesting. I pulled two other news segments from the news pertaining to Fort Bliss and the local surrounding area of El Paso and what have you. And to be honest, what I found it striking that the news felt it a notable story to report the fact that there were many Germans in the area. Fort Bliss, they have a German club, which is nothing wrong with that. But for the news to make a notable, they keep making a notable resource to the fact that there is a rather large German community and, this region of the United States. And, I had a homeboy when I was in college back in Cali, and he just severely dreaded, ever going back to the El Paso area because he just said that it was just so mundane and so remote, kind of just like a small town and a remote area. And so I just find it kind of peculiar. You see, it's not the fact that there's a German community there, but it's such a prominent German community to the point where the news would just need to report it. I mean, we don't find this really anywhere else in the United States, and I've never seen a news article like that. So with that being said, it brings to mind of, World War II, Operation Paperclip, and seeing all of these incidences where soldiers come up missing, they're getting, hit by cars in these quote unquote accidents, psychological experiments. These soldiers are snapping and killing their roommates and, things like this, happening at one military base. There's other military bases. And let me tell you something about military bases. Military bases do not just disclose their information to the news media outlet. That doesn't happen. It's very secretive, and they're even privy to keep a lot of things secret. So for the fact of this information to reach the light of day at Fort Bliss, would denote somewhat of a form of saturation of events happening there. So if I was a soldier, I definitely would not want to be stationed at Fort Bliss, as it's mentioned in some other place in one of these snippets that it seems to be a concentrated area of minority disdain, as well as any other minority type groups, LGBTQ, whatever. Fort Bliss, El Paso, Texas area, not a good place to be. So with that being said, I'm going to show you the two news clips pertaining to the German community in the Fort Bliss region. All right. Peace and blessings be with you all. I'm out.
When you walk into the German club at Fort Bliss, you open a door that has connected two countries since 1963. At the club, you can eat authentic German food and, in the evening, enjoy German beer with friends. The beer garden outside of the club becomes a popular place to be every fall when the first keg is tapped, kicking off local Oktoberfest celebrations. The drawdown of German forces from Fort Bliss has prompted this shutdown, bringing to an end a long legacy of celebrations. Marco Hauf, first lieutenant with the German Air Force Air Defense Center and public affairs officer, says with the troop drawdown, the club will no longer be able to afford to keep the doors open.
So around about 500 German soldiers have been here in El Paso, and now we cut down our numbers of soldiers down to around about 100, 120, and so it's we cannot afford a club in this size like we have it now, so we have to close it.
For the past 50 years, the club has been the place where many friendships were established, with some even leading to marriages. The club has served as a home away from home for many soldiers. Hauf himself has fond memories of this club.
After the birth of my son, I was here, and we have a big celebration about the birth for my son, so I'm really close with this club too, yes.
Over the years, the club has been owned and operated by different groups, ranging from churches to nonprofit organizations. Master Sergeant Marco Andreessen with the German Air Force is the manager of the German club. He says the club has gone through different changes, but it has always served as a place for German soldiers and their families to meet and share their culture with Americans.
That is the most difficult part, that the Americans are saying, well, it's a shame that the German club is going, and they have to find a new location, and it's hard.
Since the announcement of the shutdown, many people have returned for one last visit to share memories of promotions, anniversaries, birthdays, and of course karaoke night. This club has provided an opportunity for Leonard Martzink, a civilian contractor from Germany, to make many American friends.
Many Americans hang around here, and the atmosphere is always quite relaxed, so it's good.
Any special memories?
None that I would share on camera.
The German club may be closing, but the stories and memories of this place will last for generations. For KRWG, I'm Anthony Moreno.
Fort Bliss is not only home to a great military community, but a foreign one as well. News Channel 9's Estefania Seifert takes us into the German world in this special report.
After the German Air Force left Fort Bliss in 2013, the El Paso community seemed to be under the impression that the German community that had established itself here since the 70s had left as well. But as it turns out, they too make a part of the borderland.
I was born in Hamburg, Germany, and I studied in Berlin and lived a long time in Berlin, and I taught in Berlin and in Hamburg.
Away from her lush green motherland, more than 5,000 miles across the Atlantic, Kirsten Eventure, passionate about teaching, now doing so in El Paso. Like dozens of Germans, she's making her home in the West Texas desert.
I came here with my family, with my husband and my two daughters. Very different, but in a very, very positive way, because as you can see, I only have 12 kids in this class.
A classroom nestled within the walls of El Paso's Deutsche Schule, or German school. It's here where the children of German soldiers stationed at Fort Bliss learn.
Supposed to teach in the German curriculum, because the kids sometimes have to change very quickly between the countries.
Talk about a culture shock between Europe and North America. Civilian life, now military activity, and a hint of borderland customs.
And I don't have any brothers or sisters, and my daughters are very sad about this when they see our neighbors having the whole family come over, and they're like, oh, we also want to have a big family like that.
Here they have like 30 persons in their family, and in Germany they're just 4.
The German Air Force first arrived into Fort Bliss 11 years after World War II. That's 62 years of an international partnership. The reason they train here? The most obvious answer.
The sun. We had enough of the rain and the snow and the cold and the dreary.
Giving soldiers 365 days a year to train outdoors.
Deutsche Schule El Paso for Gibson Contact.
Vera Gibson, now the administrative assistant at the German school, was once in the shoes of these families, typically stationed in the States for 3 years.
I've been at the German school since 2004. I've been working for the German Air Force since 1997. and we've lived here in El Paso since 1994.
Now the one comforting family is making the transatlantic move.
If they want to get closer to Germany, then I always tell them go to Rio Doso, because that's very compatible with Germany. You got a lot of trees, you got the mountains.
To feel what she feels for El Paso.
What makes you feel at home here?
That's a difficult question. I really can't explain it. It feels, my heart belongs here. I love my family back in Germany, and I like to go visit, but my life is here. My family is here, my daughter is here, and my heart is here. I wouldn't want to leave here.
And as much as El Paso may now be home, there are instances where they start to feel homesick. So there are duty-free stores with German products only available to Germans on post. Estefania Safer, News Channel 9.
All right, so after watching that, you guys, I just want to hit you with a few bonuses. I'm going to start doing this every now and again. But like I said, there's many clones. The Bible actually has a Bible verse talking about, I believe, okay, you'll have to check behind me on this. I'm gonna look it up, but I just don't have time right now, about the dead, okay, the dead walking the earth and what have you. You guys, there's a lot of things, pertaining to how we appear, our perception, how we look and what have you. These are merely images, okay? They're just merely images. And when somebody passes away, a lot of times, there are a lot of times where people's identities are taken, by demons, sometimes if they sign a contract, Dracos, and so you're likely to see, their image, because all they need is just some samples of them. Okay. They, I don't think that they really use the body that passed away, but what I do think is that they create, maybe like a clone or what have you. And then they could recycle that image because it already has a licensed identity, in the United States, already a licensed Social Security. So when there's a registry when you're born and what have you, you can't just appear on the earth walking around without having any type of registry. So a lot of times is big business in, the black market or the underground market, to recycle these identities of people who have passed away. Well, with, fourth dimensional entities or creatures, okay, that are just outside of our spectrum of sight, they need a three-dimensional vessel in order to interact with this plane. So what they can do is they can utilize the vessel in order to interact with this plane and what have you. So I just want to point out that sometimes there are several of one person, and I'm just speculating. I know in this world that there are lookalikes, okay? But like I said, bringing back the idea of Operation Paperclip, some of the Nazi German scientists went to Brazil and they were working on a project to create twins. And twins became very prominent in the Brazil area after Nazi scientists escaped to Brazil. So with that being said, Germans were very notable in genetic sciences and also eugenics. Okay, so with that being said, I just want to point out that, how close, okay, if we're 99.9% look the same, okay, that means a fraction of a percent would bring an extremity, okay, to how someone looks from the next person. So how likely is it that you have people born from different parents that look so much the same? With that being said, I would like to just suggest that it may be possible that these people may be of the same type, the exact same person, the exact same genes. Within these clippings, okay, there were two people that should have reminded you of celebrities, all right? And I'm going to bring that forward. Not only did you see Lil Bow Wow, but you actually also seen Zendaya, all right? So with that being said, I'm going to play these clips, and peace and blessings be with you all. I'm out.
Sunday Sun Bowl will continue in just a moment, but first, two families are asking for your help tonight. Two Fort Bliss soldiers, Jake Mathis and Melvin Jones, have been reported missing by their families. The two were last seen together December 19th on post. More than a week later, still no word from either of them. Their families are just hoping they're okay. ABC have been reported missing by their families. The two were last seen together December 19th on post. More than a week later, still no word from either of them. Their families are just hoping they're okay. ABC.
Now we have a new development in the young soldier found dead in her barracks at Fort Bliss on New Year's Eve. A fellow soldier is expected to be formally charged and face court-martial. Stephanie Ramos joins us with more. Good morning, Stephanie.
Robin, good morning. Asia Graham's family, as you can imagine, is devastated. They say soon after she arrived at Fort Bliss, just a few months after joining the Army, she was assaulted by a fellow soldier who is now facing a military trial.
This morning, unanswered questions surrounding the death of 19-year-old Army soldier Asia Graham, found dead inside her barracks at Fort Bliss in Texas on New Year's Eve.
My dad was in the Army. He was a first sergeant, and he had fun. I thought it was something for me.
Graham had previously posted videos on YouTube talking about how excited she was to join the military. But according to Fort Bliss officials, last June, Graham reported to her chain of command that another soldier sexually assaulted her back in December of 2019. The investigation into her assault took several months, charges not formally brought against the unnamed soldier until October. 2 months later, she was dead. Army investigators saying foul play is not